Hi, my name is Leah and today I am going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag for this channel. I'm just going to throw myself straight into it. So number one is, why did you start this channel? I have made a decision to start it as an attempt to try and put myself out there a little bit more. I am an immensely unconfident person when it comes to like public speaking, talking to people that I do not know, and just general anxiety over things. Case in point, I think this is actually my 5th or 6th attempt at actually filming this. I done this video so many times and I keep deleting it rather than posting it, but I've actually already posted some videos already where I'm talking more about the books rather than myself, so I'm hoping that that has given me a bit of practice before doing this. So, and doing a booktube channel just sort of made sense. I've thought about it on and off since I discovered booktube back in 2022, I believe I discovered it, and because I read so much and I do read quite a variety, so booktube just sort of made sense in that regard. At number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? I honestly don't really know at this point. I am an English literature and creative writing student at university currently, so I'm thinking maybe I could do a few videos talking about the books that I am studying for that at some point, probably closer to the summer right now, because I am actually currently doing university and that will take time, but it's something that I am thinking about, and I've been thinking of maybe doing like themed videos as of right now, because I do have some books that sort of probably come under the same like type of books. I've got like a few fairy tale retellings, or one thing that I'm planning on giving a go is I've got multiple vampire books, so maybe doing like vampy reading vlog, but otherwise I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my niche is going to be. So as of right now it's probably just going to be plain reviews. So number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? Again, hoping it will help me build up some confidence, maybe discover some more reads that I wouldn't necessarily think to pick up. I do discover most of my books through other booktubers, so hopefully I can get some more recommendations that way, maybe talk to some other people who are like me, and so on and so forth. I'm not looking to like become a huge million subscriber person like some of the more popular ones, but like a few people to chat to maybe would be nice. So yeah. Number 4, why do you love reading? I think the escapism of it is a pretty much a universal answer for any reader, but also I would say I like to go on an adventure, but I'm very much someone who likes my creature comforts. I like my bed, I like my stuffed toys, I like my heating and I like having a kitchen not too far away, so I get to go on a little adventure and meet people without ever leaving my room, pretty much. And I like stories. I'm not just a reader. I do really like films and TV shows. I don't watch them as much as I used to, but I'm slowly getting back into them. I've finished recently the 1st season of the Interview with the Vampire TV show, and I plan on starting season 2 tonight actually, so hopefully I'll do that. But yeah, I just love a story. I want to write them myself one day and so forth, and it's just something that I am immensely interested in. So at number 5, what book or series got you into reading? I as a kid really loved the Little Rainbow Magic Fairy books by someone, but it was like Ruby the Red Fairy, Amber the Orange Fairy, Violet the Purple Fairy, I think there was a Storm the Lightning Fairy, and so on and so forth. And they're all friends with like these 2 little girls, and they'd like these girls would like help them with the fairies with their like troubles and so forth, because I think Jack Frost was the villain of those books or something. But they were always in trouble, and these little girls had to help them. I also really liked Pony Whisperer, Spy Dogs. I loved Spy Dogs books as a kid, and so on. And when I was a preteen, I think they belonged to the daughter of one of my mum's co-workers at the time, but I got gifted a bunch of second-hand point horror books, and these are some of my favourite ones. We've got The Snowman by R.L. Stein, who wrote the Goosebumps books, who, according to my parents, apparently I loved the Goosebumps books as a kid, but I honestly have no recollection of reading them whatsoever, so I would like to read them one day as well. The Train by Diane Hull, I think her last name's pronounced. And my favourite one of them all, which I didn't know was actually the third part of a series when I read it, is The Vampire's Promise by Caroline B. Cooney. I consider these my first big kid books, and they are largely the ones that got me into horror. I do own more, I think I own about 13 point horror books in total, and I've read, I think, all but 3 short story collections that I think I've got buried somewhere. But these are my first big kid books and my introduction to horror books, a genre that I am still a very big fan of. And yeah, as well as Harry Potter. I think everyone my age was obsessed with Harry Potter when it came out, and it will continue to be a nostalgic piece for me. So those are them. At number 6, what questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? Mainly, what do you edit on? Because currently I'm doing everything on my phone. My phone hates it when I try to do too much footage on it. It cuts out completely, and it doesn't like, it's quite limited on what you can do with it. So what do you edit on? Preferably something free, if you can recommend that. But yes, so primarily that. Also, where would you say you get recommendations from other than Booktube or Bookstagram itself? Because though I have had many amazing recommendations from both, I do seem to feel like I'm cycling through the same books over and over again. I'm not really coming across anything that I haven't already heard of. And I'm finding that as well when I go to the bookshop. It's all stuff that is currently popular. I'm not finding any weird little things that I'm not discovering elsewhere. Like, I'm pretty much relying solely on secondhand shops in order to find stuff. And so yeah, where do you, because especially as well, I'm not really into thrillers, but I am into horrors, and sometimes when you are looking at the cover and looking at the back, they can look like the same thing. They can be very difficult to tell apart. So where do you get recommendations? Also self-published recommendations as well, because I do want to read more self-published books, and I have a load that I have bought for free on Kindle, but I'm struggling to find recommendations on there because I'm willing to buy on Kindle. I've been thinking of getting the Kindle Unlimited thing maybe next year. So again, yes, yeah, where do you get recommendations otherwise? Because my library, I love my library, it's great, and it does have some things, but the stock they have is not very big, so it's not a very big library, and they've not got a lot of fiction. I think the fiction consists of about 12 shelves, and everything's kind of just thrown together, so you kind of have to pick through it all, which I don't always have the time for. So yeah, recommendations. Number 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Again, having the confidence to actually put things on the internet, as well as finding the time and the places to film, because I'm pretty much in this room. I have a feeling no one else in my household will want to be seen in shot, and I don't want to go flashing my house around to people because it's privacy. So I'm pretty much going to be limited to maybe this room, sometimes maybe out and about. But yeah, so, and also finding the time to do it, as well as the energy. I am as of right now a night shift worker, And if anyone's worked night shift, you know that even when you're not working, you can be exhausted 24/7 as a result of that. So yeah, and as well, the technology side of it, I am not tech savvy at all. I do struggle with figuring out how things work, so I think those are going to be challenges. So, and number 8, when did you start reading? Always. I've always been a reader. I am the daughter and granddaughter of readers, so I've always been surrounded by books from a very, very young age. I said earlier, Harry Potter was a nostalgic piece. Is a nostalgic piece for me growing up. That's because I literally have memories of when I was still in single digits with my dad reading them to me. I was learning to read whilst those were being published, and I grew up with them. So, and yeah, I think I still have a little picture book from when I was a kid, and yeah, I loved stories from a very young age. I think I made up my own story of my own when I was about 4, which was about a horse who was a superhero. So I've just always been a reader. So yeah. At number 9, where do you read? Here in this room. I also sometimes listen to audiobooks at the gym. I read during my breaks at work, and yeah, I sometimes read on my phone when I've got a spare moment. I'll sit there reading the Kindle app on my phone and so forth. Really, but mainly in this room. 99% of my reading is in this room, in the very spot that I am currently sitting. So, number 10, what kind of books do you like to read? I am a horror and a fantasy fan. Mainly horror right now, but I am trying to get back into fantasy slowly but gradually. I like more sort of epic fantasy type stories, like I've read the first 2 Game of Thrones, as well as Fire and Blood, I think it's called. Is it Blood and Fire? Fire and Blood, the Targaryen backstory one, and Hunger Games. I need to reread them at some point, but I have read the 3 Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit, and I'm currently getting into the Assistant to the Villain books. But yeah, I'm still trying to get back into fantasy. Another reason why I want more recommendations, most of the fantasy I see get recommended is romantasy, which I am slowly but surely thinking is a genre that I might not be overly into. But horror is currently where I am at. I love ghosts, I love vampires, I love zombies, I love a deranged serial killer, and I love being scared. I love scary stuff. I prefer stuff that's more, if there's a story and it's not just gore and guts and mayhem just for the sake of it. That has its place, but I prefer if there's actually a story being told. So those are my preferences. But yeah, those 2. I'm slowly getting into the more contemporary stuff. I'm trying to slowly give like romance more of a go, because I've never historically been a romance reader. But then back in 2023 I read Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston and loved it. I gave it 5 stars, which surprised me because I picked it up on a whim. I think the audiobook became available on Libby, and I thought, if nothing else, I can have a laugh at listening to an American writing about British people, because American writers do like to rely on a stereotype for British people, but then I just ended up loving it. So yes, but yes, I'm mainly horror and fantasy, with contemporary, slowly giving romance more of a go. But overall, I'd say I'm largely trying to give everything a go. I'm never going to assume that I'm not going to like a book based on its genre. So yes, there's that. And number 11, what does your book collection look like currently? I am not going to film it right now because I'm sorting some stuff out and it's a bit of a mess, so I might put it on a later date, maybe do like a little bookshelf tour. But currently I've got a bookshelf here which has 6 shelves on it, all of which are double stacked to some degree and stacked sideways to fit more on and so forth. I've got another bookshelf there which is 5 shelves, and I think the first 2 are both double stacked, and I have one of them little 4 cubed shelves over there which is fully stocked, and I've got books that are piled up underneath my printer table, and I've got books in my cupboard. I've got books on top of my drawers. I have this which I have been keeping track, and one of the reasons I want this is I want to start this channel is to hold myself accountable, because I own about 700 books and I have about over 500 of them that is still technically on my to be read, which sounds like I don't read a lot. I do read a lot, I just don't necessarily keep everything that I own, and I am bringing books in faster than I am unholding them. So part of this is to keep me accountable, because I own so many and I need to read them. So but yes, but I've set a rule for myself that I'm not allowed to borrow any audiobooks from Libby unless it's a book that I already physically own. So I'm going to be trying to do that. But yes, that is my Booktube Newbie Tag. Maybe give me a like and subscribe if I sound like someone who you feel like listening to ramble, because as you've probably figured out, I am a rambler. And until next time, goodbye.